he can talk about Raj's sex life. You asked for the full, unedited surgical breakdown of the Raj Shamani podcast featuring the graphologist Imran Baig. You wanted every single claim destroyed. So sit down, grab a notepad, and write this down, preferably in whatever cursive style you want, because it doesn't mean a single thing about your personality. Let's start right at the beginning. Imran claims he can look at any handwriting sample and tell 128 things about a person. 128? Why not 129? Why not 127? This is a classic pseudoscientific trick known as the illusion of precision. By throwing out a highly specific, seemingly calculated number, the practitioner attempts to sound deeply authoritative and data driven. There is zero empirical literature in psychometrics that quantifies 128 distinct readable traits from penmanship. And then he immediately drops the bomb that he can find out about Raj's health. Let me be unequivocally clear. Medical graphology is purely fictional. Unless you are suffering from Parkinson's disease, a severe neurological tremor, or motor neuron degradation that physically alters your hand-eye coordination, resulting in phenomena like micrographia, ink on a page does not reflect your internal biological state. Moving on to the actual analysis, Imran looks at the letter H. He claims that a line coming from the top reveals Raj's philosophical ideas, how he looks at life, his thoughts on money, relationships, and his locked code of ethics. This is frankly embarrassing. How does a vertical line and a crossbar correlate to your financial ethics? It doesn't. Imran is using a textbook psychological phenomenon called the Burnham effect, combined with basic cold reading, right? He is feeding Raj a universal, flattering concept that Raj has strong, unshakable principles that he has made peace with. Everyone listening to this wants to believe they are highly principled and deeply philosophical. It is astrology wrapped in stationery. Next, Imran tells Raj, you love anticipating things. You love to be in control. But when people aren't practical, you switch off. Have you ever met a CEO, a podcaster, or literally any functional adult who does not relate to this? You like being in control but hate impractical people. Wow. Groundbreaking psychological profiling, huh? That is the most generic horoscope level reading imaginable. To his credit, Raj actually catches this. Raj pushes back and correctly points out that these are just generic things that apply to everyone. But instead of conceding, Imran deflects. When asked for specifics, Imran points to the cursive connections and claims it shows fluidity of thoughts and makes Raj a good conversationalist. As a psychologist who has studied cognitive processing, this makes me want to scream. Really. Cursive writing is muscle memory. It is a fine motor skill dictated by the specific stylistic drills you did in primary school and how quickly your hand moves. It has absolutely zero correlation with verbal intelligence, executive functioning, cognitive processing speed, or how well you host a podcast. I have seen brilliant, highly articulate neurosurgeons whose handwriting looks like a seismograph during an earthquake. Then comes the magic trick. Imran claims the handwriting shows discomfort in your hand and your shoulder. Raj is stunned, noting he has a labral tear. Now let's apply some critical thinking here. Raj is a public figure who has openly discussed getting stem cell therapy for his shoulder online. Even if Imran did not Google his guest beforehand, an acute shoulder injury causes physical discomfort that manifests in body language. A person with a torn labrum will wince shift their weight, or hold their arms stiffly when asked to lean over a table and write. A cold reader picks up on these visual cues and attributes them to the magic of their method. The pain wasn't in the ink, it was in the shoulder. But this is where we go from a harmless parlor trick to outright dangerous medical misinformation. Imran now claims he can talk about Raj's sex life, the toxins in his body, how his body processes food, and his high cortisol levels. Are you kidding me? Cortisol is a steroid hormone produced by the adrenal glands. It is measured in micrograms per deciliter using clinical blood, urine, or saliva tests. It cannot be measured by a ballpoint pen on A4 sheet of paper, right? Claiming you can read gastrointestinal processing and endocrine function from a signature is an absolute insult to phlebotomists, endocrinologists, and the entire medical establishment. How are you measuring the half life of a hormone through a paper loop? Imran ends the segment by insisting that this isn't a gut feeling, but rather it is science. No, it is emphatically not. The British Psychological Society gives graphology a validity score to absolute zero. The American Psychological Association does not even recognize it. Decades of empirical, peer reviewed, double blind studies have consistently shown that handwriting analysts perform no better than random chance when predicting personality, intelligence, or even job performance. So, dear Raj Shamani, you have a massive platform. You interview real business leaders and innovators. Why are you giving a microphone for some money to this guy who claims he can read blood biomarkers from a piece of paper? When you nod along, as someone claims they can diagnose bodily toxins from cursive, you are actually validating pseudoscience to millions of gullible viewers. Raise the bar for your guests. And to public, do not trust this nonsense. Your handwriting does not dictate your sex life. It cannot diagnose your sports injuries, and it certainly cannot tell you your hormone levels. Keep your money in your wallet. And to my fellow psychology students and psychiatrists, do not even entertain this stupidity. Gatekeep the science. When you see someone claiming they can read cortisol levels from a signature, shut it down loudly.